Now that the 2024 NFL Draft has come and gone, what moves will Steelers GM Omar Khan make here to kind of put the finishing touches on the 2024 offseason? Today, I've got 6 moves that I am predicting that Omar Khan is going to make to finish up the 2024 offseason here and make this team the best it can be. Now, before we get into it, a little bit of a disclaimer here. This is not necessarily what I want the Pittsburgh Steelers to do. This is just simply what I think is the most likely scenario and the moves that I think Omar Khan is most likely to make. But if you want to see what I would do, I actually have a video on the Steelers Talk channel right now. I put it out yesterday, my perfect post-draft off-season plan. So if you want to see what I would do, I'm going to put the link to that in the comments and description of today's show. There'll also be a little tag in the top right of your screen. So if you want to watch that video, you can go check that out right now. And make sure you guys click that subscribe button and join us here at Steelers Talk. We have daily Steelers content for you guys every single day, 100% free. So to never miss any of our videos, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. So the first move that I do think the Steelers will make at some point this offseason is I do think they will do some sort of restructure of Minkah Fitzpatrick's contract. He still has 3 years left on his deal. They did do a little bit of a restructure last year. I think that if they need to create a little bit of space to make any of the moves after this one here, I think that they'll restructure a little bit in terms of Minkah's contract as well. So the second move here, and this is probably going to be the big trade of this offseason, and whether or not you think that this is a good trade or not, it's kind of up to how you feel about Treylon Burks, who is still 24 years old. He's a former first-round pick. He was drafted to be A.J. Brown's replacement in the first year the Tennessee Titans were without their former offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, who is now the OC here in Pittsburgh. So listen, man, I do think Burks is an Arthur Smith type of guy. He's somebody that's good after the catch. He is a big-bodied, strong, athletic wide receiver who's good at the catch point, who's still only 24 years old. He's still on his rookie contract. So not only is he cheap financially in terms of the salary cap, but also it's not going to cost all that much to go get him in a trade because the Tennessee Titans have added Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd to their wide receiver room this offseason. Now, Burks has been a disappointment to this point in his career. He was taken very early in his NFL draft a few years back because he's that big, athletic, strong wide receiver that we've talked about, right, with the high upside, but he's been injured. He's had bad quarterback play. The production just simply hasn't been there, which is exactly why I think the Steelers can get him for a conditional 6th-round pick in 2025. Burks has to play a certain amount of snaps for that to become a 6th-round pick. And if he doesn't, it's just simply a 7th-round pick. So that's what I think the price would be to get a guy like Treylon Burks in the building here. And listen, man, I'm hoping that the Steelers can get a bigger name, like a DK Metcalf or something like that. But at the end of the day, guys, okay, I'm just not sure if any of the teams that, have wide receivers that the Steelers would want, guys like Metcalf, guys like Deebo Samuel, guys like Courtland Sutton, I'm just not sure if any of those teams are going to come to the table and deal with Omar Khan during the final stages here of the offseason. The Seattle Seahawks, they're trying to win now with Geno Smith, and Metcalf is their number 1 receiver. Yes, they're up against the cap, but I'm not completely convinced that they want to let go of DK. At this point, Deebo Samuel is somebody that the San Francisco 49ers claim they are not even considering moving right now. Now, I mean, who knows? I mean, that could be just GM talk, all these different things for the right price. I still think the Steelers might be able to get Deebo, but if they're really shutting the door on that, no chance at him either. And then Courtland Sutton, apparently the Steelers were completely rebuffed. They were completely denied any opportunity to bargain for Courtland Sutton when they called the Denver Broncos asking about his availability. Now listen, man, you never know. Contract negotiations could go south. Sutton is not happy with his contract situation there in Denver. So you really never know what's going to happen here. I'd rather have one of these 3 guys for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but at this point, I think it's the most likely scenario that Treylon Burks will be the move for the Pittsburgh Steelers at wide receiver. Now, let me know down there in the comments section, would you accept this trade for the former first-round pick? I will say, I think he's a good fit, and, he does have the high upside, and this is a move that could absolutely work out, but also Burks has been a disappointment, so he could definitely be a disappointment here in Pittsburgh as well. Type A if you would accept it, or type D if you're going to decline it. This is going to be the pinned pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me an answer here, accept or decline. Now, in terms of the big free agency signing here, because Burks it doesn't cost all that much in terms of salary cap, and you restructured Minkah and Highsmith's contract this offseason, that gives you a little bit of room to maybe make a little bit of a splash here. And I think that splash would be Justin Simmons, the free safety, formerly with the Denver Broncos. You take a look at his numbers here over the past 4 seasons. Still putting up really good numbers, man. 2 forced fumbles last year, 3 the year before, 3 interceptions in 2023, and then before that, he was putting up 5 to 6 interceptions per year at the free safety spot. So he's a ball hawk. He's a big-time game-changing playmaker in center field for the Denver Broncos, or at least that's what he has been. Now, he is getting a little bit older. I think because he's still on the market, he's probably asking for a little bit more money. So he's not going to come necessarily cheap, in my opinion. But I think Simmons is a clear upgrade over Damontae Kazee at that kind of true free safety spot. I think the Steelers kind of want to move Minkah Fitzpatrick around a little bit, have him be more of like a disguise piece, maybe put him in the slot a little bit. Obviously, Minkah's a free safety as well. But, they have Damontae Kazee, who's also a smaller free safety type. So if you're going to have 2 kind of true free safeties in your defense like the Steelers want to have, why not get a bigger version of Damontae Kazee, who is a lot faster, and I think that is a lot better in terms of playmaking and turning the ball over. So listen, man, if you're going to be picking up Justin Simmons, I think it only makes sense to cut Damontae Kazee. It saves you $3 million in cap space for 2024, and that would alleviate a little bit of the contract for Justin Simmons, depending on how much the Steelers end up signing Simmons for, but I do expect it to be less than $10 million at this point in the offseason. So coming up here, I got 2 more signings that I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to consider making here during the 2024 offseason, getting ready for the 2024 NFL campaign. But before we get into those moves, I want to tell you about today's sponsor at Fanatics. Go to chatsports.com/Russ to get your very own officially licensed Russell Wilson number 3 Steelers jersey, getting ready for this 2024 season. Guys, you know that I'm a big believer in Russell Wilson. I think he is the right quarterback at the right time for this football team. I think this team is going to take another step in the right direction here with Russ as their starting quarterback. If you agree with me right now, go to chatsports.com/Russ to get Russell Wilson's officially licensed Steelers jersey in your closet today. The 5th move that I expect Omar Khan to consider here is adding a 4th edge rusher, and I would like them to go get Markus Golden. Now, this could also be Bud Dupree. There's still some pretty decent rotational edge rusher options out there, but I think the Steelers are going to see that Markus Golden is the best available option for this football team. He is out of all the edge rushers currently available in free agency, Markus Golden, out of all of them, has the highest Pro Football Focus grade in 2023. He did a good job stepping in for TJ Watt when he was dealing with his injury stuff late in the season last year. And listen, man, Nick Herbig, I love him. He's going to be a really good third edge rusher that comes in on obvious passing situations as a true pass rusher. But if TJ Watt or Alex Highsmith gets hurt, the Steelers don't really have anybody that's capable and big enough to play a true outside linebacker role on early downs and be a reliable run blocker or run defender. Nick Herbig's just too small. He's going to get blown off the spot if he's asked to start. So I think Markus Golden, you bring him in, he works in this defense. He had arguably his best year of his career last year in a rotational role for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If I'm Golden, I want to go back to Pittsburgh, and if I'm Pittsburgh, I want Golden to come back as my 4th edge rusher. Then the final move here, and I think this is going to come a little bit later in the offseason. It's going to come after the NFL does its investigation into a domestic incident that Cam Sutton, the cornerback, formerly with the Detroit Lions, who of course left the Steelers last offseason for Detroit, was involved in Florida earlier this offseason. And I do think that if it's a small suspension, like a 1 or a 2 game suspension, or if it's just a fine, whatever the case may be, I think the Steelers will significantly consider bringing in Cam Sutton to be the next starting slot corner for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that he's somebody that obviously really had a lot of success here in Pittsburgh before he went to Detroit. Last year didn't have a great season there, but he was the number one corner option here in Pittsburgh just 2 seasons ago, and he fits in really nicely in the slot with the guys that are currently on the team. You got Joey Porter Jr. as your true lockdown number one. Obviously, Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan view Donte Jackson as a legit starting option because they pretty much traded Deontay Johnson straight up for him. So I think Donte Jackson's going to be clearly the number 2, or he's going to be at least a starter in this secondary to start the season. And then you can just plug Cam Sutton right in there in the slot. You know he fits this defense extremely well. You know he can play at a high level in this defense. And because I'm not sure if his options are going to be all that great, you can probably get him for an exceptionally cheap contract for a player of Sutton's caliber. So here is my off-season predictions here. Not necessarily what I would do in all scenarios here, particularly the Treylon Burks trade. I'd rather go out and get a bigger name at wide receiver, but this is what I think is probably going to happen for the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason. I'm sure I'm going to get some of this wrong here. I guess we'll have to see what Omar ends up doing. But if you're asking me right now what I think the Steelers are going to do to kind of put the cherry on top of the offseason here, these are the 6 moves I think they could make. Now, let me know down there in the comments section, would you like this plan from Omar Khan? Give me a yes or give me a no down there in the comments section to let me know if you would approve of these 6 moves. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support. If you want some more content from me on social media, I post Steelers updates, channels updates, all these great things on my X account at Jack_Sperry. And then for more general NFL news and rumors content, you can check me out on Instagram at SpareDog.football. And don't forget, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. We got over 51,000 Steelers fans already subscribed to our channel. We're growing like crazy thanks to you guys. So if you want daily Steelers content for free here on YouTube and you made it to the end of today's show, make sure you click that subscribe button and join us tomorrow.